Mrs. Jerome, I want you to tell the court how your baby was horrifically and shamefully stolen from you.
Your Honor, opposing counsel isn't asking any questions. He's just given us his Southern fried opinion.
Sustained. However, Ms. Miller, please refrain from descriptive adjectives.
Apologies, Your Honor.
Southern fried. Mrs. Jerome, what was your reaction when you learned that the baby you previously thought was dead was very much alive?
I was confused at first. I mean, I was just so overwhelmed that my little boy was alive. And then, of course, I was incredibly hurt to think that Brad had orchestrated this entire thing. I mean, I thought he was my friend.
You are referring to Brad Cooper, correct? A man related by marriage to Michael Corinthos.
Yes. He had switched my son with the little boy that he had adopted, and he watched me grieve for nearly 2 years. How could anyone be that cruel? And then to think that he would ask Michael to be Wiley's godfather. I mean, how could he do that to me? It's untenable.
Well, I can't imagine anything so demented, but you weren't the only person that was hurt by Brad Cooper's actions. Your new husband, Julian, he had believed he was Wiley's grandfather. Isn't that right?
Yes. Jules, my husband, he and Wiley had bonded. I mean, he truly believed that Wiley was his grandson. And then once we found out the truth, we were shocked. And I will say that the pain brought us closer and gave us a connection and possibly something more.
Are you and Mr. Jerome in love with each other?
Well, I would never speak for my husband because I respect him far too much for that, but I'll have to let him answer that question. What I will say is that Julian loves Wiley deeply, and I know he would do anything to protect and keep my son safe, and we have that in common. I mean, the way that Julian talks about Wiley, he loves him abundantly. And I knew that he would be an excellent co-parent for Wiley. So you ask if we love each other. Julian loves Wiley just as much as I do. So what mother could find anything more appealing than that?
In your own words, why do you feel you deserve sole custody of Wiley Quartermain Corinthos?
I already lost nearly 2 years of my son's life, and then Michael cruelly kept him away from me for even longer than that. He's so selfish and entitled, and those are not lessons that I want passed on to my child. And you're right, I have paid my debt to society. I have an amazing job at Crimson Magazine. I have roots in this community and a husband who loves my son just as much as I do. I want to dedicate the rest of my life to making sure that Wiley has a home and a family that he deserves.
Well said. Thank you. No more questions, Your Honor.
Mrs. Jerome, you've just stated that you now have roots in Port Charles and that you want to dedicate the rest of your life to making sure that Wiley has the best family possible.
That's exactly what I want.
Will you tell the court, please, then, why, on the night that you allegedly discovered that your son was alive for the very first time, that you raced to the apartment where Willow was taking care of Wiley, you assaulted Willow, and then attempted to abduct Wiley and flee the country?
Objection, Your Honor. Inflammatory. Ms. Miller is clearly badgering my client. This is nothing but a pointless verbal assault of unfounded accusations in clear violation to courtroom norms and standards of jurisprudence.